Streamers, my viewers, we're back with another one. In today's video, for the view reacting to the DeShon watching situation just got worse. You know DeShon watching. He's a football player, rec, rec, recognizably in the NFL. I think he plays for the Browns. But anyways, let's get into it.
So does that mean Cleveland Browns are about to be Shador Sanders' team?
Everything that I've heard of their OTAs is that DeShon Watson is currently in the league to be the starter.
But
The starter? What you talking about?
For the next draft because they picked up
that
and they
definitely.
started bundling.
Presented as a competition. I'm not going to be a one-to-one competition that we've seen in
It's
years.
gonna be a one-on-one
Right
competition,
now, the Cleveland
bro.
Browns are holding a quarterback competition, so you
QB comp? I
why this is
bet.
such a big deal.
Every team holds a quarterback competition.
Except this one is a little different and a little sadder. One of the two guys fighting for the job is getting $230 million guaranteed throughout the lifespan of his previous contract to do so. And
True.
the other guy fell all the way to the 5th round and barely got drafted at all. And the craziest part of all, the expensive one is currently winning. So let's talk about how a football
Like, nah. Come on, not like right. He's expensive.
team gets this desperate, how you trade away the best defensive player on the planet, watch your best coach quit on you, and somehow end up with a quarterback room that's basically a choose-your-own disaster. There's a backup quarterback on this roster that isn't even allowed to keep his jersey number, and the reason for that is sadder than you think. Before we get to the content, I just wanted to shout out my pop culture channel, Flight Mike TV. As we get to the
Like Mike. Shout out
days
to
of
him.
the NFL offseason, you may see us posting some more pop culture content on that channel. We are 9,000 subscribers away from 100,000 subscribers, so if you want to check it out over there, I'm going to leave a link to it pinned in the comment section down below and in the description. Now that we get all that out of the way, let's get to today's video.
Why is it all blurred out? We can still see it.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? So let me set the stage
On
for
me?
you guys because the Cleveland Browns wrap up their mandatory
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Now,
Did I say Browns? Wait,
it's been off. And by the time they're done, their brand new head coach Todd Monk
look.
check 1 2 1 2. What's
Oh my bad, bro. I skipped like 10
everybody.
seconds.
So let me set the stage for you guys because the Cleveland Browns wrap up their mandatory minicamp this week. And by the time they're done, their brand new head coach Todd Monken says he
Todd
wants to see a
Monken,
starting
yo,
quarterback.
QB. We got 2 starting level QBs. Look, you put the best one out there, man. And
The two
then
names
second
that are
one,
left
you put it
standing
on specific plays like, oh yeah, he's not good at this way. Let's do this way. Boom, boom, boom. He's good at running. Let's put it right. Like, switch him out.
Sean Watson and Shador Sanders. Now, you'd figure that Shador Sanders has this locked up. Watson hasn't played a snap since October of 2024. He tore his Achilles, had surgery, and then tore it again and needed a second surgery. The man's been off the field for 19 straight months. You'd assume Cleveland just hands the keys to the second-year quarterback and moves on. But the sad thing about this is multiple Browns reporters say that DeShon Watson actually has the inside track. He's been
How?
in the first team reps in the important drills. And the craziest part is coming off of 2 Achilles surgeries, DeShon Watson's been taking off and running on option plays. And supposedly, the Cleveland Browns have been pleasantly surprised by how quick he still looked.
Quick is crazy, man.
So let me get this straight. I'm not even going to bring up DeShon Watson's off the field issues
like a
here.
knife
I
or
mean,
a-
we've
yeah.
already covered that ad nauseum. Let's just talk about his straight football ability here. He's 30 years old. He hasn't thrown a real pass in a year and a half. And he's beating out the quarterback that you drafted to be your future. I mean, Nike has ran ads on Shador Sanders. And it gets even more confusing. I mean, this is a team that's supposed to be rebuilding. Which brings me to a very scary question for you guys. What does this tell you about how the Cleveland Browns truly feel about Shador Sanders? Now, before anyone says it in the comment section, yeah, I know Shador Sanders technically made it to the Pro Bowl
On me?
year. And I'm not going to go into the specifics of that because there's a lot of asterisks on that Pro Bowl appearance. But here's where Shador Sanders really stands. As a rookie, he took over midway through last season and started the final 7 games. In those games, he went 3-4. Of course, there
Okay.
Some games where
Cool.
Kevin Stefanski completely screwed him over, such as the game where he decided that Shador Sanders shouldn't be in to go for 2 and decided to run a bizarre trick play instead.
Didn't come through on our first 2-point play. Got to the second 2-point play. We didn't come through. That's on me.
But that aside, Shador's
Sure.
statistics were very rough. 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and completed under 57% of his passes.
10 interceptions. Crazy.
The Browns as a whole finished 5-12, and that's the guy they might be benching for a quarterback who's older, more expensive, more banged up, and who the Browns have already decided they're moving on from after this season anyway, which is why this is so preposterous. Even if DeShon Watson lights it up, he is gone after 2026, the most expensive bridge quarterback in NFL history. So Cleveland might start him for 1 year, knowing it's a dead end, just because the other option scares them significantly more. If that doesn't tell you where this franchise currently is, the next part of this video certainly will.
Wow, it's crazy, man, though. Like, bro, why y'all paying this dude so much if he hasn't stepped on the field, bro? Like, when has the last time they won? Y'all should not be paying somebody that much if they're not gonna win for their team.
Understand how the Browns got here? You gotta go back to the single worst decision any team has ever.
Like, I understand, like, when was the match they made it past the first round, or even got to the first round, bro? When was the last time they did that, man?
Made for this entire century. Of course, you guys know, in 2022, the Cleveland Browns had a huge decision to make. Either keep Baker Mayfield after he had one of his worst seasons for the Cleveland Browns, after he was playing through a
Oh, they dropped him. They dropped him.
shoulder, or chase the quarterback that put up a near MVP season before he had 22 civil cases filed against him for
Watson,
misconduct. And in typical Browns fashion, they decided to go after DeShon Watson. Despite Watson wanting nothing to do with the Browns traded 3 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and 2 fourth-round picks to the Houston Texans in return for DeShon Watson. And then they signed him to a fully guaranteed $230 million deal. And since
Okay. Bro, you don't even have to try to step on the field. Guarantee $230 million? That's how long?
then, he's been one of the worst quarterbacks in the entire NFL. Let's start with his last healthy stretch. In 2024, before he got hurt, Watson had the lowest QBR of any qualified passer in the NFL, a 21 out of 100. He threw 5 touchdowns in 6 games. The Browns didn't crack 20 points in a single one of them. And here's the wild part. He led the entire NFL in sacks taken with 33. In 6 games, there were quarterbacks who played the whole season and got dropped fewer times than DeShon Watson did in 6. So you add it all up, and the Cleveland version of DeShon Watson has thrown 19 touchdowns in 19 games across 4 years. And the craziest part is, this isn't some career scrub. This is a guy who made 3 straight Pro Bowls in Houston and once led the entire NFL in passing yards. That quarterback is gone, and what's left is one of the least productive starters in football. A guy who hasn't started a full season since 2020. And then there's the...
Because they evolved.
Because it isn't 1 Achilles tear, it's 2.
2,
Watson
yeah.
tore his right Achilles back in October of 2024. He had surgery, and then a few months later, in the middle of his rehab, he tore the same Achilles again and needed a second surgery. That's why he sat out the entire last season. It's kind of crazy because the Cleveland Browns tried to void his contract as a result of this, and they completely failed, which you gotta give credit where credit's due. Unlike Brandon Ayuk, DeShon Watson protected his bag, and if you don't know what happened with Brandon Ayuk, we covered...
Bro, how did 8 seconds is crazy,
in a
man.
previous video. I'll leave it in the end screen for you guys to check out. But Watson is currently 30 years old. He turns 31 in September, and he's coming back from back-to-back operations on the same leg after 19 straight months on the shelf. So here's a question nobody in Cleveland wants to ask.
What is your birthdays?
Watson was already the worst qualified quarterback in football before he blew out his Achilles twice. What exactly is he going to be like once he comes back from it? Think about what an Achilles tear actually takes from a guy. The burst, the explosiveness, the ability to slide around the pocket and climb away from pressure, and the ability to put extra juice on bullet passes. Look at what happened to Kirk Cousins once he returned from an Achilles tear.
Yeah, he didn't burst or anything. He's not
was
running.
not able to put enough zip on the ball when he was a member of the Atlanta Falcons. And DeShon Watson already had trouble putting zip on the ball because he was dealing with shoulder issues. For a quarterback who took 33 sacks in 6 games, that escapability wasn't a luxury. It was the only thing that was keeping him standing up. And now you could strip it away because he tore his Achilles twice on the same leg. So yeah, the Browns keep telling everyone that DeShon Watson looks fast and mobile in practice, but come on, bro. That's why he's wearing shorts and a t-shirt in May. Nobody's rushing him. Nobody's pushing him out of the pocket. Nobody's forcing him to create. Nobody's even allowed to touch him. There's a reason why they call it non-contact. The real question was never whether Watson gets back.
Bro, we had that in practice, non-contact. Oh my gosh.
Was Houston himself. It's how he comes back as anything
on the
worse than
QB,
what he
you know,
used to be as a
like-
Cleveland Brown. It's gotten so bad that Stephen A. Smith went on First Take, looked dead in the camera, and basically begged DeShon Watson to walk away.
My God, how awful can you be?
Before telling Watson flat out that if he can't win his job in Cleveland, that he should straight up retire. But I don't think he's gonna retire because he's guaranteed the money that's coming to him anyway. Which brings us to the obvious question. Why don't the Browns just cut their losses? There's a simple answer for this. They can't. Cutting DeShon Watson would stick them with around $131 million in dead money. They've
Dang.
his deal so many times that he's glued to their books all the way through 2031, and he still counts about $45 million against the cap this year whether he plays a single snap or not. They're financially handcuffed to him, so they'll keep running him out there because there's no other choice. It's kind of crazy because coming into the DeShon Watson era, the Cleveland Browns have had a horrible history with quarterbacks, and somehow they were able to top how terrible their history with QBs were.
Bro, McCaff, Mahomes, and who he got?
With the DeShon
Kobe?
Watson situation, and the funniest part of all is the general manager that made the trade for DeShon Watson still actively works for the Cleveland Browns today. Since the Browns rejoined the league in 1999, they have started 42 different quarterbacks. There's an
Rejoin is
actual
kinda
jersey
crazy.
hanging in a window in downtown Cleveland with every single one of those names printed on the back, and they're running out of room. First round picks, undrafted nobodies, washed up vets. The Browns have tried all of them, and almost none of them worked, and the ones that did work, they decided they could do better, and they moved on from. Here's where the Pro Bowl thing that I said earlier gets even more pathetic. The last Browns quarterback to make a Pro Bowl before Shedeur Sanders was Derek Anderson in 2007, and before him, you have to go all the way back to Bernie Kosar in 1988. 2 Pro Bowl quarterback seasons in almost 40 years. So when someone hits you with,
But Shador's a Pro Bowler.
here's the truth. He got in as a last-second replacement after Drake made
Second play, I'm saying.
Patriots made the Super Bowl. He wasn't voted in. He wasn't even the first alternate. The
True.
league actually passed over Trevor Lawrence to add in. And out of the 36 quarterbacks who threw enough passes to qualify last season, Shedeur ranked dead last in completion percentage and dead last in passer rating. So yeah, technically the Browns...
Bro, I couldn't even do better than him. I don't even play QB. That's crazy. I can at least get at least 2.
QB, but it's not a real Pro Bowl QB. Alright.
It's like the
It's
end
just I gotta work on my arm.
era, but I've had my biker moment. Plus, I listed this on eBay and like,
Alright, so the DeShon Watson contract poisoned the roster, but here's what most people aren't paying attention to. It poisoned the coaching staff as well. Back in January, the Browns fired Kevin Stefanski, and honestly, you can argue about that one. Because the guy won
Alright,
coach...
we ain't arguing about that one, bro. That was a decision. I ain't gonna hold you.
here twice, but the team went 5-12.
Bro, why'd they fire him though?
They're 8-26 over the last 2 years, and they haven't made the playoffs since 2023. So they cleaned house and went hunting for a new head coach. And that's when it got embarrassing, because the Browns couldn't get anybody good to take the job. The top candidates pulled out. They declined interviews, and the reason, per the reporting, was the salary cap mess and the quarterback situation, which, surprise, ties all the way back to DeShon Watson. Think about that. Who wants to inherit a team you can't actually fix?
Because it starts with the QB, bro. If you want to have a good offense, yeah, you could have the best defense, but bro, people are not playing defense whole entire time while offense barely scores. No, like you can't have like a 1-score game and then boom, defense always out there.
guys eat your entire cap.
even something like that.
It came down to two names, and the Browns hired Todd Monken, a guy who's never been an NFL head coach before, who most people figured was just going to follow John Harbaugh to the Giants as a coordinator. First-time head coach, and he's already on the hot seat. One report flat out said Monken and Andrew Berry could both get fired if this season goes sideways. The man hasn't coached a single regular season game, and people are already counting down to his firing. Welcome to Cleveland. The other finalist...
Cleveland, bro. I haven't met one actual Cleveland Browns fan, bro. Like, y'all got the worst logo imaginable. Y'all. It's recognizable, but like, come on, it's orange helmet. Y'all gonna do nothing better than that. Or the Browns, like y'all can do like a they can do something like something better though.
Head coaching job was Jim Schwartz, the Browns' own defensive coordinator. Honestly, the only remaining competent member of the coaching staff. And when they passed him over for Monken, Schwartz didn't hang around. He resigned. He walked right out the door. He's expected to sit out the entire 2026 season rather than coach for anybody else.
No. For coach for I don't know.
Why does that matter so much? Because Jim Schwartz wasn't some random assistant. His defense was the only thing keeping the Browns watchable. Last season, that unit finished 4th in the entire NFL in yards allowed. Think about it. 4th on a 5-12 team. The offense was a dumpster fire, but the defense was genuinely elite. And I think he made the right call, because in one offseason, not only did the Browns lose the man who built that defense, but they lost the player who anchored it. Because a week ago, they traded Myles Garrett.
Myles Garrett, bro? Your only carryable teammate, bro.
Two-time Defensive Player of the Year, the guy who just set the all-time single-season sack record with 23 sacks, the face of the franchise, got shipped to the LA Rams. And here's the craziest part. They had just given Garrett a 4-year, $160 million extension barely a year earlier. They paid him, and then they dealt him. What did they get back? They got Jared Verse plus a first, a second, and a third-round pick. And Verse is a real player, two-time Pro Bowler, Defensive Rookie of the Year, but come on. You don't trade a generational pass rusher unless you've already decided this season doesn't matter. The Browns are stockpiling picks for the 2027 draft, hoping to finally find a quarterback, which means everything that's happening in 2026.
Sanders, bro. You need a QB. And then Sanders is alright. Sanders is okay. Oh, I had the same face mask. Yeah.
This entire quarterback battle, for example, this all might just be a placeholder until next spring. So the defense is gutted, the guy who held it all together is gone, and their first-time head coach is already on the hot seat. It can't get more dysfunctional than this. But don't worry, in typical Browns fashion, they found a way to become the laughingstock of the NFL once again. So when the Browns got Jared Verse in that Garrett trade, he showed up to practice wearing number 8, the number he's worn his entire career. You'd think this isn't a big deal, except there was already a guy wearing that number on the Browns. It was Dillon Gabriel, the other second-year quarterback that they drafted last year. And for a few days, both of them just wore it at the same practice. The internet lost its mind. Everybody assumed there was some big standoff brewing. Turns out it was simpler than that. The Browns are just waiting on the league to approve Gabriel switching to a new number. Verse keeps wearing number 8. Gabriel's the one who has to change, because when a starting caliber rusher wants your number and you're a backup QB, guess who wins? You know how it works.
Backup, not backup QB, bro. It's like, bro, you're not starting, but you have a good number. Like, come on now.
Pay a guy, you take his digits, and Verse never asked. He didn't offer a dime, he just took it. Think about what this probably means for Dillon Gabriel. This is a guy the Browns drafted in the 3rd round just last year, 50 spots ahead of Shador, and now he's running with the 3rd team. His own head coach basically buried him in public. One writer summed it up as the writing is on the wall, and he's getting bumped off of his own jersey number by a guy who didn't even bother to ask. You don't lose your reps, your coach's confidence, and your jersey number all in one offseason and stick around very long. The jersey isn't proof he's getting cut, but it's a loud, ugly signal about where Dillon Gabriel stands in Cleveland right now, which is barely hanging on. So where does this all go from here? Well, here's the best case for the Browns.
All this is getting you sacked?
Shedeur Sanders takes the job at some point, proves he's the real deal, and all those picks they collected turn into depth instead of a desperate search for a quarterback again. His best receiver, Jerry Jeudy, has already said he's bought in. And to be fair to the kid, Shedeur was the first Browns quarterback to win his first career start since 1995, so there's something there. But the best case isn't usually how it plays out for Cleveland, is it?
Bro, we need him. Alexander way better than and he's rated way higher, bro.
Likely version is way messier. They start DeShon Watson, the most expensive mistake in league history, for one last year that everybody already knows is a dead end. They lose because the defense got gutted and the offense is still finding itself. And then next spring, sitting on all those 2027 picks, they draft another rookie quarterback and run the whole cycle back. Name number 43 for the jersey. And that's the trap that the Browns built for themselves. Watson, Shedeur, whoever's next. None of them fixes the real problem.
True.
The real problem is a front office that tied $250 million to a quarterback who can't stay on the field and built a deal that they can't get out of. So here's where I land on all of this. The Browns didn't get unlucky. They weren't cursed by some football god. They did this to themselves. Everything happening in Cleveland right now, the coach nobody wanted, the defense they had to break apart, a quarterback battle between a washed up veteran and a fifth rounder, all of it traces back to one bet. DeShon Watson.
Sanders is a good pick. DeShon Watson, no. He can't accelerate, he can boom, and he can move. No, keep him. Switch him to running back.
Still can't get out of it. The saddest part is that trading Garrett and grabbing those picks might honestly be the smartest thing they've done in years. That's how low the bar is right now. The best case scenario for the Cleveland Browns is we finally bottomed out hard enough to start over. So I want to hear from you. Is Shedeur Sanders the guy who can finally break the curse, or is this just another lap on the carousel? And are the Browns already cooked before week 1? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.
Alright, man. I your boy Quantum. I am with this something, and I'll be out with the bang.